What's going on, internet? Welcome to the brand new show, What Are We Even Doing? Which is a show where I grab videos from around the internet that shocked me. They're going to make you laugh. They're going to make you cry. They're probably going to make you lose a lot of hope in humanity. But nonetheless, we will discuss them. We've got some great stories for you today. Great is probably not the best word to describe them. And one of them is so dangerous that it potentially threatens every life in this country. So hit the subscribe button, click the bell, and let's dive right into it. Now, because this is the first episode of this show, I need to preface it by saying I'm going to talk about people who do stupid things. And while I would never call anybody stupid, obviously you can be perceived as a stupid person if you habitually do stupid things. Now, that being said, I'm only 25, and no matter how many years I have left, I've got a lot of mistakes to make. And when I make those, obviously I'll be called a hypocrite, and that's fine. I'm not perfect. I have flaws. I'm no messiah. But I think oftentimes in society we're told that because we're not perfect, we therefore can't speak out on what we think is right and wrong. And look, I believe firmly that it is everyone's fundamental right to speak about what they think is right and wrong. So that's the preface. With that being said, let's dive into the first story. And it's pretty shocking, and I think the woman involved is doing something terribly stupid. This video is of a woman trying to give CPR in order to resuscitate a dead animal. This dead animal is a bird, and I'll read you the little blurb here. It says that the concerned woman is seen holding a dead bird's beak open with one hand in the video as she blows into its mouth while clutching onto its body. She then presses on the pigeon's chest in a bid to get its heart beat back. Okay, while people look on in amazement. I would have been one of those people looking on in amazement. And here's the thing, I'm no animal expert. Just seems like the lips are incompatible because you got a beak and lips and you can't create that suction. I don't want to get vulgar here, but this is just the nature of CPR. I don't know, there's something immensely disturbing about seeing a person put their mouth on a dead animal's mouth. It's a little gross. And I think it's a little stupid. Now, hey, I have not been a pet owner growing up. I never had a dog. I never knew what it was like to love an animal. So maybe this is my pain speaking, okay? But I don't think this should be happening. I don't even know if the chest compressions, I mean, I'm sure the bird's got a heart, so maybe you're starting that, but I'm amazed, and I'm ignorant here for sure. Is this even possible? Like, is that something that you can do? And is that something you should do? Let me know in the comments down below. Would you ever give CPR to a bird or any other animal for that matter? Okay, now the next story we have, and this one is disturbing. I gotta talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers. So unless you've been living under a rock, you know that Damar Hamlin, number 3 for the Buffalo Bills, had his heart actually stop on the field during a Monday Night Football game with 5 minutes, 58 seconds left in the first quarter. He was resuscitated right there on the field, brought to the hospital. And actually, as of the recording of this video, here 9 days later, he is alive and well, thankfully, and he's been released from the hospital. So hopefully he's on a journey to a very strong recovery, and who knows if a return to the NFL is possible. Now, as amazing and as uplifting as that is, unfortunately, that's not the story today. The story has to do with the Pittsburgh Steelers and the amount of stupidity and buffoonery that it would take for them to use one of their apparently well-known celebrations, which is to pretend to resuscitate a player on the field. That's what they did Sunday night. Particularly Alex Highsmith was involved in this celebration here after a sack. And there are two options here. Either number one, they just didn't know what was going on. Pure ignorance. Number two, they knew and they just didn't have any respect. They just didn't have any care for a fellow NFL player who literally has been fighting for his life for the last 9 days. Now, here's why. There's no way that they couldn't have known about it. This isn't some other sport in another country with a no-name team, right? Okay, this is the same league. And the game that Damar went down in and had to be resuscitated in was not some obscure, insignificant game on Sunday at like 4 p.m., right? This was a Monday night primetime game with two of the top teams in the league, the Cincinnati Bengals and the Buffalo Bills. The world, no pun intended here, the world literally froze when Damar went down. And it was world news, global news everywhere. People were praying and crying and offering condolences and thinking about Damar and his family. His mother was there in the ambulance leaving the stadium, okay? There's no way that these players didn't know about this. And so I understand that sometimes things happen in the moment, and this is why we give leniences for kids, because their brains are still developing and sometimes they do stupid things, right? And if even that were the case, there would be some place to see a silver lining, some place to be forgiving of these players for participating in this thoughtless celebration. But the problem here is that this is obviously premeditated. This was not something where they're like, oh, we just got a sack. What do you want to do? And then they talk about it. Look, this was rehearsed. And so because it's rehearsed, it's premeditated. And because it's premeditated with lack of forethought into the major event that's been the biggest news story in the NFL and one of the biggest news stories in the world for the last week. The fact that they didn't think about that at all, I think there actually needs to be some punishment, because we're talking about somebody's life here, and we're talking about a lack of respect. They're not even out the hospital yet. I mean, today they are, but Sunday night when this happened, not even out the hospital. And I don't know the reports from the doctors. He still may not even be in the clear. It seems like he's recovering very well, but who knows? There may still be some risk involved. So to think that as a society we can just move on that quickly, I think it's heartless, it's inconsiderate, and it's just plain stupid. We're gonna get on to the last story of today, which I really do think threatens the life of every American in this country. Flights all across the country were grounded because the FAA experienced a computer outage. Now, we don't have any details on what caused this outage, whether it was something planned or accidental, but there are certain moments, I think, in this country's history. I'm not going to name certain ones, I think everybody is well aware of what happened in the year before 2002, but it exposes like major issues, major security flaws that we have as a people, as a nation. We need to wake up for this one, because the fact that we don't have a backup system, the fact that we can't just keep things going, the fact that it doesn't seem anybody planned for something like this happening is pretty stupid. I mean, this is a huge country, an enormously powerful country, where the people get seriously fined and even jailed for operating motor vehicles at high speeds and recklessly, okay? Which are just a few tons and can move, somewhere max at 130, 140. Well, the best ones can go 200 plus. But most of the time, 70, 60. I digress. Airplanes are multitudes heavier. Tons and tons of weight, moving at much faster speeds, hundreds of miles an hour, over 500 miles plus per hour. These are very, very dangerous. When we lose control or when we lose the ability to communicate, this is life and death, and not just for one or two people, but for everybody on board and even people on the ground. So, and the fact that we haven't dealt with this yet is pretty stupid. Now, I mean, come on. I wasn't thinking about this. Then again, that's not my job. I don't fly planes. I'm not a pilot. I'm just saying something like that where an entire communication system could shut down seems pretty major. Seems like something somebody would have thought about. Again, I'm not an expert. It just surprises me. It blows my mind that in 2022 something like that could happen nationwide. But you know what? I'm not here to waste your time. Those are the three stories. Tell me which one in the comments below you thought was the absolute stupidest, the absolute craziest. If you'd like to see me cover any stories, hit me down in the comment section below. Like the video, subscribe, share this video with your friends if you thought this was just wild. Some of the news that you heard today. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.